you see The Rock and he's standing there with his shirt off, with his shorts on, there's not a man alive who doesn't want to be built like that. They all want to be built like that.
A 15-year-old boy sits in a car, watching his mother cry. She's holding eviction papers. Their entire future fits into one number, $7. That's all they have left. That same year, on a Nashville highway, that boy had to pull his mother back from oncoming traffic as she tried to take her own life. That boy would grow up to become one of the richest actors in the world. His name is Dwayne Johnson. The world knows him as The Rock. But this story didn't begin with fame, muscles, or Hollywood lights. It began with poverty, fear, and a kid who learned very early that life can fall apart overnight. This isn't a fairy tale. It's the real story of a man who kept moving forward when everything around him was breaking. The painful beginning. Dwayne Douglas Johnson was born on May 2nd, 1972, in California.
I had a very complicated relationship with my dad. And it was really, there was a foundation of tough love with my father. And wasn't a big I love you guy.
His father, Rocky Johnson, was a professional wrestler, but wrestling back then didn't pay much. The family moved constantly, different cities, different schools, different struggles. By age 14, Dwayne started going down a dark path. In his own words, 13 is when I started to veer off the tracks. He joined a theft ring in Hawaii, targeting tourists in Waikiki. He was arrested multiple times. By the time he was 17, he had been arrested 8 or 9 times for fighting, theft, and check fraud. But the worst moment came when he was just 15 years old. His family was living in Hawaii. One day, Dwayne came home from school and saw his mother standing next to their car, crying. There was a lock on their apartment door. They had been evicted. Dwayne later said, this moment broke him. He felt helpless. He couldn't protect his mother. He couldn't fix anything. All he could do was watch her cry. That day, his mother reached into her purse. She pulled out her wallet and counted what they had. $7. That was it. Everything they owned in the world added up to $7. But that wasn't even the worst day of '97. By age 14, Dwayne started going down a dark path. In his own words, 13 is when I started to veer off the tracks. He joined a theft ring in Hawaii. They would target tourists in Waikiki, the wealthy shopping district. He was arrested multiple times. By the time he was 17, he had been arrested 8 or 9 times for fighting, theft, and check fraud. Then came the moment that still haunts him. That same year, something happened that would haunt Dwayne forever. After a fight between his parents, they left a restaurant in 2 cars. Dwayne was driving one. His mother and father were in the other. In an interview with The Express, Johnson described what happened next. She got out of the car on Interstate 65 in Nashville and walked into oncoming traffic. 15-year-old Dwayne ran into traffic. He grabbed his mother and pulled her back to the shoulder of the road. He saved her life. What's crazy about that suicide attempt is, to this day, she has no recollection of it whatsoever, Johnson later revealed. For many people, this would be the end. But for Dwayne, it became his fuel. He made a promise to himself. One day, he would make sure his mother never cried about money again. One day, he would change everything. The football dream that crashed. At 16, a football coach saw potential in Dwayne and convinced him to play. Johnson later said, "My grades got better, and I started getting recruited from every college across the country." He got a full scholarship to the University of Miami. This was his ticket out, his chance to make millions in the NFL. Dwayne was part of the Miami Hurricanes team that won the national championship in 1991. Scouts were watching. His future looked bright. But then, disaster struck. During his final year, Dwayne suffered a serious back injury. Multiple herniated discs, the kind that ends careers. The doctor said he needed surgery. Still, he didn't give up. He recovered. He trained. He fought his way back. In 1995, Dwayne signed with the Calgary Stampeders in the Canadian Football League. He was making just $250 a week. Then came the final blow. After 2 months, the team cut him. Calgary called again a month later. They wanted him back, but Dwayne said no. He returned home with nothing. At 23, he was sleeping in his parents' tiny apartment, depressed and lost. He described how dark it got. I was devastated and depressed. I reached a point where I didn't want to do a thing or go anywhere. His girlfriend broke up with him. Everything was gone, becoming The Rock. Dwayne was at his lowest point. He didn't know what to do with his life. Then, about a month and a half after being cut, something unexpected happened. The Calgary team called. They wanted him back. But Dwayne surprised everyone. No, I don't think so. I think I'm done with that. Years later, he would say, I've never gone wrong trusting my gut. His father gave him an idea. Why not try wrestling? Dwayne wasn't sure at first. Wrestling seemed fake to him. After playing real football, could he really pretend to fight in a ring? But his father believed in him. His father and a family friend trained him. It was brutal. Wrestling might be scripted, but the pain is real. The injuries are real. Dwayne learned how to fall, how to take hits, how to entertain a crowd. In 1996, he signed with the WWE. They gave him a character called Rocky Maivia, a combination of his father and grandfather's ring names. When Vince McMahon, the WWE owner, first pitched the name to him, Dwayne was honest. But Vince wasn't having it. The character was even worse than the name. Vince had specific instructions. In an NPR interview, Johnson remembered. He said, when you go out every night, I want you to smile. So Rocky Maivia smiled, and smiled, and smiled some more. The WWE expected people to love him. They were wrong. Fans hated Rocky Maivia. They thought he was boring, too clean, too fake. And I'd have to smile. Imagine working your heart out and thousands of people telling you they hate you. Most people would have quit. Most people would have broken down. But Dwayne did something different. He listened. After getting injured and taking time off, he came back different. The WWE told him they wanted to turn him into a bad guy, a heel. Johnson asked for one thing. Vince gave him 2 minutes. Dwayne grabbed that microphone and let everything out. Years later, describing that moment, he said, that night, I got on the microphone and became a heel. He realized the nice guy character wasn't working, so he changed everything. He became cocky, confident, funny, and suddenly, everything clicked. The Rock became electric. His catchphrases caught fire. People couldn't get enough of him. Within a few years, The Rock became the biggest star in wrestling history. He was selling out arenas. He was on magazine covers. He was making millions. Years later, reflecting on his success, he would say, success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. But here's the thing about Dwayne. He never forgot where he came from. He never forgot that feeling of having $7. And he never forgot his promise to his mother. Hollywood and beyond. By the early 2000s, The Rock was on top of the wrestling world, but he wanted more. Hollywood didn't take him seriously. He was just a wrestler. His first starring role was the Scorpion King in 2002. Critics weren't impressed, but the movie made money. For years, he took small roles. Some movies flopped. People said he should go back to wrestling, but Dwayne kept working. He was patient. Slowly, things changed. Fast 5 in 2011 made him an action star. Jumanji in 2017 showed he could do comedy. By 2020, Dwayne Johnson was the highest paid actor in the world. He was making over $87 million a year. But money wasn't the point. Dwayne used his platform to inspire others. He shared his story of depression. He opened up about his mother's suicide attempt. On Twitter, he wrote, "We all go through the sludge, and depression never discriminates. Took me a long time to realize it, but the key is to not be afraid to open up. Especially us dudes have a tendency to keep it in." He told the Pivot podcast, "Years ago, I didn't know what mental health struggle was. As men, we didn't talk about it." He shared his mantra, "Be humble, be hungry." He wanted people to know that if a broke kid who battled depression could make it, anyone could. Today, Dwayne Johnson is worth over $800 million. He owns a tequila company, a production company. He's one of the most recognized faces on the planet. But the most important thing? He kept his promise. He bought his mother her first house in 1999. When he surprised her, Johnson wrote on Instagram, "When I was a little boy, I hated when my mom would cry." He explained, "All our lives growing up, we lived in little apartments all across the country, lived like gypsies on the road." About his mom, he wrote, "This woman has survived lung cancer, tough marriage, head-on collision with a drunk driver, and attempted suicide." When Dwayne talks about success, he talks about that day in Hawaii, about his mother's tears, about $7, about pulling his mother from that highway. That hunger, that memory of $7, that image of his mother crying. That's what pushed him every day. Dwayne Johnson's journey teaches us something powerful. Your beginning doesn't determine your ending. You might be struggling right now. You might feel like giving up. You might have $7 in your pocket, or maybe less. But if a 15-year-old boy watching his mother cry in a car could become The Rock, what's possible for you? The only question is, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to get back up when life knocks you down? Because that's what separates dreamers from achievers. Not talent, not luck, just the decision to never, ever give up. That's the real story of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. From $7 to $800 million, from eviction to empire, from poverty to power. And if he can do it, maybe, just maybe, you can too. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for more content.